That's really interesting. Which I think kind of brings up the second point here, and it was the conversation about modularity, and more or less, where do you, from what I understood earlier as we were talking about this, where do you put specific pieces of functionality? Because, or what does what where, right? And because that's ultimately the challenge. You guys made the best decision you knew how to make at the time, given all the inputs you knew the trade-offs, etc. And down the road, the requirements have only gotten clearer, which obviously is only going to happen as time goes on. Let's have a conversation about modularity and maybe some of the things you have learned in a grander scope, but I'm sure some of the stuff would be applicable to what we just talked about here.
Sure. I just, from the very beginning, I mentioned that I never considered that we are doing the best decisions. And, we are just human being, right? That's why most of the time we are wrong.
You make the best decision that you have given all the data, given all the input. And I think that's what this type of conversation, Igor, is really important to have, because it is so easy, in my experience, for the Magento community to come out, guns blazing and saying, hey, you guys made the stupidest decision. You guys must be kindergartners. And, kind of throwing the insults around. But in reality, every time I've talked to an Adobe engineer on this platform, I've always come away from the conversation saying, wow, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. And yet you guys did. So, and obviously this is your job, which you're invested in all day, every day. So you kind of should be. But at the end of the day, it's this type of context, which I find incredibly interesting and very helpful. And it makes me all the more appreciative of what a great platform this is. And because it's great people that are powering this platform. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. And here we come to the second law of software architecture, which states that why is much more important than how. And
that's right. Yep.
Usually, and I believe this is exactly what you're saying, that sometimes we are not making the good solution, but we have a lot of good reasons why we did it, or why we did not prefer something else. Because we have quite a lot of internal considerations. Sometimes, and yep. I'm not saying that we are usually choosing the right decision, right? But we at least have a good intention to make something.
You do,
and yeah that's why Magento UI component is one of the good examples of it, right?
That's right. I understand. But then again, I feel like, and I'm just going to go on my little soapbox here for that and for 1 second. I feel like that there is a lot of optimization that can be had there, absolutely, no doubt, as evidenced by this this issue we ran into with the Tagstar module the other day. However, it's a lot of the hate comes from the fact that people don't understand them. And once you get and understand them, you can work pretty well with them. And hopefully developers actually graduate beyond the UI component. They have such a good understanding of them. They're able to take pieces of the UI component and actually substitute them for other stuff, which was the entire purpose of UI components in the first place. So I feel like a lot of the problem comes back to lack of understanding. And maybe once you have a full understanding, then you can hate on it. You can say, hey, we should have done it this way. But at the end of the day, it works. It's transacting. And you guys are off trying other fish. So it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen another. It's water under the bridge. So let's embrace the platform as it is. Let's learn it. Big key point there. Let's learn it. And then we're going to be masters of it in the end, regardless of what areas of it are architected perfectly and what areas have some to be desired.
Sure. And